Yo, welcome back to the channel, boys. So today I've got like a new concept for video making, and that's going to be tutorials. I want to try and like help you guys improve at the game, and the videos are going to be kind of like ItsJerian's videos, but I'm going to put my own spin on them, and I'm not going to blatantly copy him because that's pretty scummy and stuff like that. But anyway, today's going to be focusing on competitive late game circles and how you can survive easier. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys like a game that I played, and I'm going to like go over it and just tell you guys what I could have done better. And then after that, I'm going to give you guys some general tips to survive. So be sure to let me know if you guys want to see like any more of these videos, and tell me what type of tutorials you guys want to see. I'm down to make more because I actually really enjoyed making this one. So before we get into like the actual tutorial itself, I want to ask you guys a huge favor, and I usually don't ask for stuff like that directly from you guys, but if you wouldn't mind, could you guys sub to my buddy Catherine Yanes? She's been like making videos for a while and stuff, and she puts a whole bunch of work in her videos, and I'm sure it would make her day and stuff if you guys went over there and showed some love and sub to her. Be sure to tell her your boy No Clickbait sent you as well. Alright, let's get into the video, boys. Alright, so basically what I'm going to do with this entire game is I'm going to go through and analyze all the mistakes that I made, and I'm mainly going to focus on end game, but I'll go ahead and give you guys like a background of what happened to me like early game and like how I got set up. Alright, so what happened was I landed at my main drop spot, which is Lucky Landing, and I got looted up really quick, and I W keyed a guy and got a kill. And then I mainly just rotated after that because this is a custom, and like they have their own certain rules, and you're not allowed to fight mid-game and stuff like that until like the third zone closes. So I just literally just rotated for the next like 10 minutes, and I just got mats and then just got more loot. I was actually like super unlucky with like loot this game. I had a pump and an AR as my guns, and I just had some I had some good heals and stuff like that. It's just I had no movement at all until I got a supply drop. But yeah, that's a quick rundown of like what happened to me early game. I'm just gonna go ahead and skip to late game because that's pretty much why you guys clicked. But anyway, this game only had 25 people whenever the fighting started. I'm not really sure why. I guess just a whole bunch of people were killed off spawn because the numbers just kept going down throughout the match. So there's probably a couple of rule breakers too. But anyway, I was hoping to be more stacked, but it was still good practice for me. So there was about a minute left, and I had shockwaves, but I didn't want to use them yet because the zone was actually in a pretty decent spot for me because everybody was over towards northwest and west and stuff like that. So I actually just decided to run around and just rotate like that. And as soon as I was starting to run into a player, that's when I started tunneling. At this current moment, I didn't really see much mistakes with that. I think it was a wise choice to save my rotations for later because at that current moment, I saw there was an opening to go. I'm a pretty firm believer in rotating early as long as it's not dumb. So in this case, it was actually pretty smart to rotate early because I was actually able to just tunnel up and one by one and stuff like that and try. And I mainly did this so I could make a height play later, but it ended up not working out because I kind of, like I said, I made a bunch of mistakes this game. So my first main mistake was right here, and that was whenever I was trying to peek around. And never do this, guys. It's actually really stupid of me to do. Is you literally step up above your stair to look down at someone. You're completely exposing yourself to like the whole lobby, and I paid the price for it twice, and I got like headshotted like super hard. And then I actually made another mistake too. I edited my cone to go for some picks, but I did it right in front of the guy that literally just shot at me, and he just beamed me again and almost killed me. So I wouldn't recommend doing stuff like that, honestly, like especially if it's coming from a dude that's been shooting at you for a bit. Like just don't peek in his direction unless you want to take shots back at him. I think the best time personally to go for picks is during rotations and during zone changes and stuff like that. I think it's kind of dumb to just kind of shoot at people throughout the game unless there's people running around. And one thing I forgot to mention was whenever I built my 1x1, I have a couple layers, it was only held together by like one floor down there whenever I was tunneling. So make sure you always you're always connected to a couple things and you're more sturdy and stuff like that, because it usually isn't a huge deal whenever you get shot down as long as it's not too high, because you can usually build up pretty quickly again and cover yourself, but sometimes you can take a lot of damage. So I would just recommend making sure you're connected to a whole bunch of things. Alright, so next up we have my rotation and stuff like that, and what I basically did was I kind of choked here. I saw a guy and I was trying to beam him whenever he was rotating, and it was working at first, but then the storm got close and I was actually trying to go for a push play on him because I expected him to just edit out and start trying to run and build. But instead, he actually had a shockwave and he used it, so I ended up using it after him, and I got shot in the face for it. So what I would recommend doing is I would just kind of like take it a little bit slower, kind of like watch what he does for a little bit longer, and then don't like do a push play unless you're like gonna fully commit to it. What I did wrong there is as soon as I saw him shockwave, I was gonna try and follow him, and that was kind of a bad move because I left myself wide out in the open trying to shockwave, and there was a dude right there and who ended up shooting me in the face. What most good players and stuff like that do is they make sure they always shockwave whenever they're like inside of like a box or something like that, because it's absolutely the safest way to do it. I decided not to use my shockwave right off the bat right there, which kind of like hurt too. I should have used it earlier because there was a lot of builds in the way by the time I finally used it. And as you can see, I've burned up a whole buttload of mats just trying to be able to get in the zone. If I would have used the shockwave like as soon as I got up to that spot, I would have been in a much better position. I wouldn't have had to burn as many mats, and I might have been able to survive a little bit longer in the long run. So right around here, I started to choke really hard. I was panicking. So I still had 250 mats, and I was wanting to play more aggressive to try and get some kills and health back. And that was the right move to do that, but I didn't use like any of my mats at all, and I ended up getting trapped in a guy's box. But luckily I was able to pump him right in the head and kill him. And then right around the time where I was starting to run at the guy that edited a window, this is a mistake that I made. So what I would recommend doing is I would focus on one target at a time, because as soon as I like let go of the guy I shot at first, I went straight to another guy that was peeking in a window, and that's a bad move because I completely forgot about the other guy that I was going after in the first place, and he ended up trapping me in a box. So usually what you want to do is you want to try and keep track of one guy at a time, because that can allow you to get the kill faster and then focus on other players. And this will help you avoid getting trapped in boxes and stuff like it happened to me. And all of this caused me to end up getting trapped in the storm, and I took a buttload of storm damage. So here's where I made another mistake. I wasn't paying attention that the zone was actually going off of a hill. So I was still trying to build up and contest for height and stuff, when that was the absolute wrong decision to make, because we ended up getting higher in the air as time went by. So another tip I would give you guys is just to be aware of your surroundings, like know where the zone's going. And that's a mistake I make a lot, and I'm trying to fix it. Is I'll get so caught up in rotating that I have no idea where the zone's going anymore. The only time I can really tell where it's going is if it's going up a hill, but really pay attention if it's going down a hill, because you won't have to worry about burning mats just to get down. So after I finally noticed this, I was getting down as quick as I could, and I ended up running into another guy, and I got pretty lucky here because he panicked as well, and I was able to just pump him in the head. And as soon as I started pushing forward again, I was going to actually try and make a play for height, but then I wasn't paying attention to how many mats I had left. So this is where actually having a teammate helps out a lot, is you can actually have your teammates who are spectating you constantly call out your mats and stuff like that. I notice a lot whenever I'm playing trios and like I'm the only one alive, they tell me like how many mats I have left, and it helps so much, because in solos it's so hard to do that because you're focusing on so many things at once, and all of a sudden you can't build anymore, you know. So but anyway, I got pretty greedy right here with the heals. I should have just taken one mini and just looked around for some kills again, and that ended up making me fight the dust. If I would have only taken one mini, I potentially could have killed this guy. So as you guys can see, as soon as I like used my shockwave there, I should have shockwaved again instantly to try and get up this hill, because look, there's like no builds right now and there's people still gliding in. So I would have been able to get up here and base up for a second, and I probably would have gotten some more picks, and I could have gotten some more kills and stuff. And by the time I finally decided to shockwave, there's all these builds in my way and stuff like that. So like I said, another mistake on my part. And all this caused me to burn so many mats just because I was still trying to make it to zone. So right here was a really good idea on my part, was to try and finally get some kills. Like this guy was just kind of like wide open right here. But here's the guy that was making the window right here, and I kind of got distracted by him. I should have pressed this guy and like tried to get on his box and stuff like that. See, I immediately just ignored him. He was right behind me, and I just went straight for this guy, and this dude just traps me right there. And the only reason I killed him is because I don't think he even expected me to do that. See, I already had my shotgun fully pulled out by the time he was pulling his out still, and I was able to get the easy kill on it. And one thing that actually makes me super sad is as soon as I finally rotated down here, I actually had an ability to get height. I just ran out of mats. So like I said, all these like mistakes that I made earlier could have been avoided if I would have made a play for height. So right here's what I'm talking about. Like there's literally like no one that's like contesting me for height right now. I could, if I had mats, I could have kept height, and I probably could have won this game. And as you can see, the person who has height is going to win the game, and it ends up being this guy who has the rocket launcher. See, this guy can just watch these two dudes fight and try and rocket them the whole time. And see, the guy with height ended up winning the game. Alright guys, so I'm just going to go over some quick tips real quick to wrap up the video. So first things first, just don't expose yourself like I did by like stepping out at the top of your stair to look down at someone, because that completely exposes you to the whole lobby to shoot at you, and I paid the price for it twice. Second up is don't make dumb peeks to get kills, and that's what I did. I made a peek that was facing straight to the guy that just shot at me, and I ended up getting lasered again. Third is just rotate smarter / sooner. So my rotation could have been so much better if I would have used the shockwave again as soon as I boxed up, because at that moment there was still people rotating and there was a lot more room up there on the mountain, and this would have been able to get me some more kills as well if I would have been more aggressive. Fourth is keep an eye on the zone and where it's going to end up. This is a super important tip because this can actually determine if you can take height or not, or if you can just win the game in general, because if you have the best positioning, then you have the best chance to win. If the zone's going up a mountain, then try and position yourself to a spot where you can either shockwave or launch up the mountain, or just avoid having to build up the mountain at all just by using your movement. And if you don't have movement, then try and just build up there and be as aggressive as you can, because that's kind of one of those unlucky scenarios where you just don't have any movement, so you kind of like are screwed and you have to burn up all your mats just to get up the hill. And this also applies whenever the circle is actually going away from a hill, so you're going to experience a really quick drop in altitude, and you're going to end up building just a platform across to try and keep height, when that's actually not the play, because you can actually get shot down super easily, and you're also super high up, so you need to get down anyway. And then the last tip, and this is probably the most important tip to help you win a game, and this is probably one of the most hard things to master, and that's taking height. The reason why it's so hard to master is because there's so many scenarios that like involve taking height, like how much movement you have, how many mats you have, and just overall where you're positioned on the map, like in the circle. Usually if you find yourself in the center of the next zone, then I would recommend just boxing up and then going up several layers to where you can take height later. And that's just taking height by just burning mats and stuff. But there are also ways to take height by using shockwaves and launching on height and then trying to just build above them. And this also works. But overall, you've seen it probably in several of the tournaments and stuff. A lot of people that win the games, they have height. But anyway, that's going to wrap up the video. This is my first time ever making like a tutorial type video, so let me know how I did. I tried to make it as concise and like neat as I could. I tried to go through like the game step by step and explain like my thought process and stuff like that. So just be sure to let me know how I did. But anyway, that's going to be it for today. Be sure to sub to Catherine. You guys have a great night. Take care. Bye-bye.